Good evening, I'm Molly Martinez. Yesterday marked the official Memorial Day for peace officers. Today, dozens gathered at the state capitol to ensure that no one who gave their life is forgotten. One of North Dakota's own Deputy Sheriff Colt Allery was shot and killed following the pursuit of a stolen vehicle near Bellacourt in January of 2017. He is just one of the many fallen officers in the community honored this afternoon. Cynthia McLaughlin is here and joins us more with tonight's top story. Thanks, Cynthia. Some Bismarck streets could be changing from 2 lanes to 3. But first, the city wants your feedback. Megan Hoffman is live on Washington Street to tell us about the proposed changes. Megan.
There are 4 roads in town the city's engineering department is looking to convert from 2 lanes to 3 lanes. Now that includes North Washington, where I'm at right now, Divide Avenue, North 4th Street, and North 19th Street. The changes would give each of the roads center turn lanes. Officials are also looking at maybe adding bike lanes and changing the parking on the sides of those streets. Now the open house starts at the City County building at 5:30 with a formal presentation at 5:45. Everyone is welcome to attend, and it will end at about 7:30. Live in Bismarck for NBC North Dakota News, I'm Megan Hoffman.
Governor Doug Burgum met with Mandan city officials and the public to discuss the challenges the city faces in keeping young people in town after they graduate. There are currently 3,500 job openings in the Bismarck-Mandan area. Every employer that spoke at the Main Street visit say they have vacancies. Governor Burgum says he hopes to fix that problem.
Make sure our education system is being responsive to the private sector, but it also means we've got to build healthy, vibrant communities that help attract and retain our young people to stay here, and then help expose them to all the great opportunities there are in our community.
Burgum says it's hard to make a community interesting for people 18 through 21, so cities need to find ways to do that to keep young people around. Kevin, this weather seems to be doing its job at keeping people around.
You know what, today Fabulous Jay writes that the projections, some could see over 2 inches. More on that coming up a little bit later on.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right.
A 35-year-old Bismarck man is arrested after threatening a police officer's life and riding his bike into a patrol car. Police received 2 calls yesterday about a man who seemed out of it and was crawling under a tree. That's where officers found Derek Kidder. Authorities say they tried to pull him over to check on him, but he refused to stop, and that's when he slammed into the squad car. Kidder was taken to the hospital for minor injuries. Police say while in the hospital, he threatened the arresting officer's life, saying he wanted to punch the officer in the face and dislocate his jaw. Kidder has been charged with terrorizing, driving under the influence, and fleeing from an officer. Authorities are updating the exact date they believe Olivia Lonebear went missing. The Bureau of Indian Affairs now say the 32-year-old was last seen in downtown Newtown on October 25th, 2017 in a metallic gray 2011 Chevy Silverado. Investigators had previously said she was last seen leaving the Sportsman Bar in Newtown. Lonebear's family and supporters will begin organizing search camps on the reservation next week at the advisement of the BIA. Congressman Kevin Cramer testified before the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative this morning in Washington, talking tariffs. In his comment, Cramer stated he supports the president's goals, but expressed concern that North Dakota's agriculture industry will feel an impact from retaliatory actions. The congressman stated while some disruptions may be a necessary part of the negotiation process, it should not all be done on the backs of our farmers. For our farmers to be successful, we need to grow, not shrink our markets. More than $29 million from the federal government is coming to North Dakota to improve rural water projects, including the Southwest Pipeline. Mary Masad, the CEO of the Southwest Water Authority, says they're working on fully opening the new water treatment facility in Dickinson. The new plant will treat 6 million gallons of water per day during peak need. More than 300 million state and federal dollars have gone into this program since the early 1980s.
It's not a short-term investment by the state or by the people, and it's for your children and your children's children.
With the expansion, Masaz says they'll be able to serve about 70,000 people. A federal grant called Money Follows the Person is helping over 400 North Dakotans statewide transition from an institute or nursing home back into the community. Maddie Gelseth joins us with more on this program. Maddie?
Molly, the Money Follows a Person's program's goal is to let people who have developmental or intellectual disabilities have the choice to live a normal life. The program provides services and support for a year, pays for moving expenses and furniture for a new home. It helps people of all ages who have intellectual or developmental disabilities along with the elderly.
It makes all of us feel just wonderful just to see people thrive. I mean, as an agency that works with people with disabilities, that's what we want to do, is have them come in, we'll give them whatever help they need and turn them loose and let them go live life.
At 6, I'll show you an individual who used this program and how it helped him get back on his feet.
All right, thanks, Maddie. The C-SPAN bus made a stop in Bismarck today for an interview with Governor Burgum. The bus acts as an interactive multimedia mobile classroom filled with political resources. Students took a look inside the studio and tested their knowledge on the touchscreen monitors. Bismarck is the 34th stop. The bus made appearances at the Capitol, Legacy High, Wachter Middle, and Shiloh Christian schools.
Each state is totally different. You know, what is happening in Montana is totally different than what's going on in Mississippi. And I find all of those really interesting.
The next capital on the list is Minneapolis, but Bacon says the bus plans to make a stop in Fargo on Friday for some more school tours. A magnitude 5.2 quake rattles Mexico City today. There were no immediate reports of casualties or damage from the quake. The tremor was felt in Mexico City shortly after 9 a.m. local time. The country is still recovering from a pair of large quakes that caused widespread damage back in September. And a water main break caused a number of electrical explosions in Massachusetts today. The underground explosion happening around 6:30 this morning. That's incredible video. In Springfield, it blew a manhole cover about 20 feet in the air and produced a fireball. Additional explosions happened, about 15 in all. No injuries were reported. At least 5 people are dead after a severe storm ripped through the Northeast. 2 of those killed were in Connecticut, where storms snapped some trees in half, uprooted others, and left the ground littered with debris. Those powerful storms also ripped through New York City. The storm appeared to come out of nowhere. Winds whipped through this city block, causing the scaffolding to be tossed around. Eventually, the force of the wind twisted it and caused it to smash into the building. No one was injured in the incident. Pope Francis is calling for an end to the, quote, spiral of violence in the Holy Land and demanding that all parties involved in the international community renew their efforts so that, quote, dialogue, justice, and peace will prevail. It comes after Israeli soldiers shot and killed 59 Palestinians and wounded hundreds in a mass protest at the Gaza barrier. All right, let's kick it over now to Kevin for a full look at our forecast. Kevin, we should play some Prince or something because the 80s are back.
80s are back, right? Today, and they're coming back next week. It looks like temperatures might be like this.
In health news, what you eat may affect your ability to think. A new study from the Netherlands links a healthy diet rich in fruit, vegetables, nuts, and fish to a bigger brain volume. Researchers asked 4,000 older adults about their food choices, then did an MRI brain scan. Those with healthier diets had larger brains. Many cancer survivors struggle with chronic insomnia, but they may find relief through acupuncture or therapy. That's according to a new study from the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York. 160 cancer patients received either insomnia-specific acupuncture or cognitive therapy for 8 weeks. Patients in both groups had significant improvements to their sleep that lasted for up to 5 months. A new rabies test may spare people bitten by wild animals weeks and spare them weeks of worry and shots to prevent the deadly disease. The CDC researchers say their new test can diagnose rabies in animals faster and more precisely than the current method. Rabies is almost always deadly once symptoms start, making quick diagnosis important. There is a vaccine for rabies, and it's 100% effective at preventing the illness from killing people. But in developing countries, the vaccine is expensive and may not be readily available. Today, the Japanese government approved an iPS cell heart disease treatment for human clinical trials, the first of its kind. Induced pluripotent stem cells can be made into any type of cell. The Ministry of Health's approval stipulates that the patients consent to the experimental treatment. Heart surgery using iPS cells would be the first in the world. The first procedure is scheduled before the end of the year. Up next, remember the dress? Half saw gold and the other half saw blue. Well, now there's a new debate dividing the nation. We'll find out which side you're on. Audio clip is tearing the internet apart, with people fighting over whether they hear Laurel or Yanny. Take a listen.
Laurel, Laurel, Laurel.
The audio clip was initially posted to Reddit, but has now been shared across social media. The reason for the fierce debate is sound frequency. So, which one is it?
It just seems like that clip was Yanny, clearly to me.
I heard Yanny, the musical artist.
Yanny. I heard onomatopoeia. All right, here we are with our weather. Look at this for tomorrow, a marginal, just a very slight threat for severe weather in North Dakota. We do have thunderstorms on the way, but good news here, because I don't think the chances for a significant outbreak of severe weather is going to be with us. We need the rain. A nice, gentle, steady rain would be great. Our best potential is coming in tomorrow night in the form of showers and thunderstorms, and then more of a lighter, showery type event for Friday with a cloudy sky and much cooler weather with highs only in the 50s and 60s. Far cry from weather right now. 79 in Minot, 85 in Mobridge. Moisture is on the increase. You may have felt that a little bit here into the afternoon. And here we are, Thursday and Friday. Best chances for rain because we dry out again, with 70s returning by Sunday.
All right, time now to find out what's coming up on the evening report. But first, Alan, which one did you hear?
I heard Yanni this morning. I heard Laurel right now. I think those are two different clips, or else I'm getting older or something. I don't know. Well, the state health department has selected 2 companies to manufacture medical marijuana, but there are still some hoops to jump through. We'll tell you who's made it so far. Need to burn an old flag but don't want to have to deal with it? We'll tell you where you can take it and have someone else dispose of it. And a domestic dispute that involved more than sharp words. Those stories plus sports and the forecast coming up on the Evening Report.
All right, be sure to tune into the Evening Report at 6, but first, here's NBC Nightly News.